we're with Blake and Joe this morning, talking with them about their reading this year in 12th grade. I'm really proud of these two guys and all the reading they've done, and just kind of wanted to get an idea about how reading has gone this year for them and how it might be a little different this year than in previous years. So first off, how's reading been this year for you guys?
I've read more books this year than I've read like ever in my school.
This year's been different because over the years I've always been told to read a certain book and write a paragraph or essay about it. But this year I'm able to choose the books I would like to read and enjoy and get into.
So how many books have you all read? We're just into the second 9 weeks. So we finished first 9 weeks. We're second week of the second 9 weeks. How many books have you all read up to this point?
I've read 12 books altogether this year.
I've read 11 in total this year.
Okay. And what would be a normal year for you guys in high school up to this point, as far as number of books you would read in a year?
A half a book. That's all that I've read in the past.
The year's time, maybe 2, 3. And the year's time, that's about it.
So the biggest difference for you all is what? If we're trying to talk to other teachers and other students, what is the biggest difference in the volume that you've read this year?
I believe that it's the way that the kids choose the book. Because, all the years teachers tell you, here, read this, get to a certain chapter, and then write an essay about it. But like this year, we are like able to choose like the best book that gets your interest and pulls you into it to be able to read it and go all the way through it without writing nothing. You can enjoy the book without having to read and like, okay, figure out ways to write this to make it sound good.
Being able to choose your own book is better than just a book being thrown in front of you for a grade or an essay. At the beginning of the year when I picked up my first book, I thought like, I'm never going to finish this. And then a week passed and I was halfway through it and I was like, I think I can do this. And then now I'm 12 books ahead, so I'm actually proud of myself.
That's great. Now, how is this translated to reading outside of school? Because we read for 20 minutes each day in class, and I'm encouraged, your homework for our class is to read. I want you to read 20 minutes outside of school. So how is this translated to you all reading outside school? Are you all reading outside of school at all?
I've finished most of my books outside of school because when the 20 minutes is up in class, it's like got you on the edge of your seat ready to finish it. So when I get home, it's like I've got to finish this book because it's like so good.
That's how I am too. Like if I get to read outside of school, like I've actually read outside of school more than I have in the previous year. Like if I was given a book, I probably wouldn't read it. But since I'm able to choose my books, I actually read probably 20, 30 minutes out of school to be able to see what happens to a certain character in the book.
That's great. Now, do you all have a favorite book from this year?
I think the best book I've ever read this year was Orbiting Jupiter because it's always got you on the edge of your seat and you never know what's going to happen next.
The best book I've read so far this year is a book called Runner. It's typically about a boy that kind of gets into a bad situation and he's trying to figure out a way to pull himself out of it without causing harm to his family and friends.
So I think one of the things that I always look at when I'm trying to pair people up with books are the ability to make connections to us with characters or what's going on in a story. And I think that do you feel like you've been able to connect with the books that you've read, find things in the book or characters to make connections with your books?
Some of the books that I've read, it's just like hits at home because like I've been through it, seen people go through it, or it's like never happened, but I've got a feeling it would happen. It's just like connects with a lot of outside of school stuff.
Yeah, some books I've read, it's had the same feelings that I've had. Like, if you can't get the courage, that's how I feel sometimes. I can't have enough courage to do this, and like that's how some characters in my book feels like.
Well, in conclusion, I'm really, really proud of you all. You guys have done a great job, and hopefully this is a semester-long class. And so my goal is that, that number one, that you read during class, but most importantly, when the class is over, that you don't just say, well, we got that out of the way, that class is over, I don't have to read anymore. Is that you continue to read, and then the rest of your life, that reading is important in your life, and then when you all have families of your own, then you continue that. When you have children of your own, that you see the importance of reading to your kids, and that it just continues. So again, Blake and Joe, I'm really proud of you guys, and just keep up the great work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you, guys. Talking this morning with Love Alley, who's an amazing young lady, and it's been a real pleasure watching her and talking with her about her reading this year, and just wanted to let her share some of her thoughts with you about how her year has gone this year in regard to reading. So just wanted to let you share some things.
Sorry. I am a very busy person. I have work, I have sports outside of school, and I've never really wanted to put the effort into reading outside of class. I love reading, and I've always wanted to read more, but it's just like it felt like too much work. But because in my English class in the past, I'd have an assigned book, and then I could just decide a book to read. But I could never put any time towards that one because I'd have to put towards the other one. But now my assigned book is the one I get to choose. So I've read lots more books than I normally would in my past years, and I'm glad, because I said to myself when I was coming into my senior year that I would read more, and I definitely have, which is very exciting for me. I've read 10, 11 books in the second. Are we in the second 9 weeks?
Yeah, we just started second 9 weeks.
And I mean, last year, I think I read 3 books entirely, my own books, and I don't know. I just like it. I just like being able to absorb into a book that I like, because I like fiction a lot, and you don't get a lot of fiction in classes. So I like to write about what I read, because I think very similarly to most of the books I read, and if not, I just think it's really interesting. Like anything from like sci-fi, fantasy, to just like things that could happen in real life. I like them all. And that's pretty much it, I guess. So have you have a particular favorite book so far? My favorite book that I read a few weeks ago, was called All the Bright Places, and it was about a young boy about my age, 17, who was suicidal, and then a girl that who had just lost her sister to a car accident, and they were both dealing with a lot of personal struggles. So I liked it, because I've had personal struggles throughout my life. Not that bad, but So again, we talked with the boys about connections. I think being able to find things that you can relate to in books, and then having the time. I think it's important to have time in class to read. Mm-hmm. Would you agree? I agree, yeah. And just like they said a while ago, they would start in class and then they would want to continue outside of class, which I agree. Like, just being able to get put in 20, 25 minutes some days of us reading, I want to read more. And I've had times where I've read maybe like 3 chapters in class, and then I went home and I finished the entire book. Like, I never read books this fast except during like the summer, like I've never enjoyed reading this much, I suppose. That's great to hear. Now, if we didn't spend time reading in class, would you take it upon yourself, you think, to read as much out of class? I would like to say I would, but I don't think that it would happen, because I just need something to push me
to begin something, and if I don't have a class that does it, it's like, is it ever going to happen? Well, it happens now
Yeah.
because I have the push.
Good. Well, it's inspirational to see what you're doing with it and to have the conversations with you, and then to see the thought you put into your responses and the writing that you do.
I love writing. I love creative writing. I love fictional writing. I like taking things from books and building off of that. I just love everything about it.
Well, it's as a teacher, it's great to see, and I appreciate that all that you do, and I'm just going to enjoy these last 7 or 8 weeks that we have together.
And Dee Dee.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Of course.